What if I told you that becoming a millionaire has less to do with how much you earn, and everything to do with what you do with the money you already have? Think about that for a second. Most people believe millionaires live flashy lives, driving expensive cars, wearing luxury brands, and constantly upgrading their lifestyle. But here's the surprising truth. Many millionaires don't look rich at all. In fact, if you walked past them on the street, you probably wouldn't even notice them. So what's their secret? It's not luck. It's not some hidden investment trick that only insiders know. And it's definitely not just a high salary. The real difference lies in something far more simple, yet incredibly powerful. Their daily money habits. Every single day, millionaires make small financial decisions that most people completely ignore. These decisions may seem insignificant in the moment: skipping an unnecessary purchase, investing a little extra, avoiding debt, living below their means. But over time, these small habits compound into massive wealth. Now compare that to the average person. They earn money, spend most of it, save a little if anything is left, and repeat the cycle. They focus on looking rich instead of becoming rich. They chase quick wins instead of building long-term systems. And that's exactly why most people stay stuck. Here's the truth no one talks about. Wealth is not built in big moments. It's built in small, consistent actions repeated over years. Millionaires understand this deeply. They don't rely on motivation or luck. They rely on discipline, systems, and habits that quietly grow their wealth in the background. So the real question is not, how do I make more money? The real question is, what habits do I need to build to become wealthy? Because once you understand the habits behind money, everything changes. Your mindset changes, your decisions change, and eventually, your financial future changes. In this video, we're going to break down the exact money habits that millionaires follow. Not the flashy ones you see on social media, but the real ones that actually work. And once you see them, you might realize something surprising. Becoming a millionaire is not as impossible as it seems, but it does require thinking very differently. From the crowd, most people believe that the only way to become a millionaire is by earning a very high income. They think you need a six-figure salary, a successful business, or some big breakthrough moment to build real wealth. And because of this belief, many people feel stuck. They look at their current income and assume, I can't get rich with this. But this is where the biggest misunderstanding begins. The truth is, income alone does not create wealth. In fact, there are countless people who earn a lot of money, yet remain broke. You've probably seen it yourself. People with high-paying jobs who are constantly stressed about money, living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, and unable to save. So what's going wrong? The problem is that most people focus on earning more, but completely ignore how they manage, spend, and grow their money. They upgrade their lifestyle as soon as their income increases. They buy bigger houses, better cars, and more expensive things, thinking it's a sign of success. This is known as lifestyle inflation, and it quietly destroys any chance of building wealth. Instead of building assets, they build expenses. Instead of creating financial security, they create financial pressure, and over time, this cycle becomes a trap. Another major mistake people make is thinking that saving money alone is enough. So they try to cut costs, avoid spending, and keep their money sitting in a bank account. While this might sound responsible, it's actually not how wealth is built. Money sitting idle does not grow. In fact, over time, inflation slowly reduces its value. Then there's the obsession with quick money. Many people chase shortcuts. They jump into risky investments, follow trends, or look for overnight success. But instead of building wealth, they often lose money because they lack a solid financial foundation. So here's the real problem. Most people don't have a money habit problem. They have a mindset problem. They think like consumers, not investors. They focus on spending instead of building. They react emotionally instead of acting strategically. And until this mindset changes, no amount of income will ever be enough. That's why understanding millionaire habits is so important. Because once you see how they think and act differently with money, you'll realize that wealth is not about luck or income. It's about behavior. So if income alone is not the key to wealth, what actually is? The answer is simple, but powerful. Millionaires follow a set of money habits that consistently move them closer to financial freedom. These habits are not complicated. In fact, they are often boring, repetitive, and easy to overlook. But that is exactly why they work. Let's break them down. First, millionaires always spend less than they earn. This might sound obvious, but most people fail at this basic rule. Instead of increasing their expenses with every raise, millionaires keep their lifestyle under control. Even as their income grows, their spending grows much slower. This gap between income and expenses becomes the foundation of their wealth. Second, they prioritize investing over saving. Saving is important, but it is only the first step. Millionaires do not let their money sit idle. They put it to work, whether it is in stocks, real estate, or businesses. They focus on assets that generate returns over time. They understand that money needs to grow, not just be stored. Third, they think long-term. Most people want quick results. Millionaires play a different game. They are willing to wait years, even decades, to see their wealth grow. They understand the power of compounding, where small investments made consistently can turn into massive amounts over time. Fourth, they avoid bad debt. Not all debt is the same. Millionaires are very careful about borrowing money. They avoid debt that does not generate value, like high-interest consumer loans. Instead, if they use debt, it is usually for assets that can grow or produce income. Fifth, they track and control their money. Millionaires know where their money is going. They are aware of their income, expenses, investments, and financial goals. This awareness allows them to make better decisions and avoid unnecessary losses. And finally, they focus on building assets. This is the biggest difference. Instead of spending money on things that lose value, they focus on acquiring things that grow in value or generate income. Over time, these assets create multiple streams of income, reducing their dependence on a single paycheck. When you put all these habits together, something powerful happens. Money starts working for them instead of the other way around, and that is the real shift. Millionaires do not just earn money. They build systems that continuously grow their wealth, even when they are not actively working. To really understand how these money habits work in the real world, let's look at one of the most famous examples of wealth building through smart financial behavior. Take the case of Warren Buffett, one of the richest investors in the world. Warren Buffett is not known for living a flashy lifestyle. In fact, he still lives in the same house he bought decades ago. He drives simple cars, avoids unnecessary luxury, and focuses most of his attention on investing. So how did he become one of the wealthiest people on the planet? The answer lies in his habits. From a very young age, Buffett understood the importance of saving and investing. Instead of spending all his earnings, he consistently invested in companies and assets that generated returns over time. He also understood something most people ignore: the power of compounding. Buffett did not become rich overnight. His wealth grew slowly over decades. This long-term thinking allowed his investments to multiply significantly. The earlier you start, the more powerful this effect becomes. Another important habit Buffett follows is discipline. Even as a billionaire, he continues to live below his means. This is a key habit many millionaires share. They do not upgrade their lifestyle just because they can afford it. Instead, they focus on preserving and growing their wealth. Now let's look at another example. Consider someone earning a high salary, but spending almost all of it. They might live in a big house, drive an expensive car, and regularly upgrade their lifestyle. On the surface, they might look successful, but in reality, they are building liabilities, not assets. Now compare that to a person who earns a moderate income but consistently invests a portion of their money into stocks, index funds, or real estate. Over time, their investments grow, generate returns, and build wealth. Even though the second person earns less, they are more likely to become financially free. This is the real power of millionaire habits. It is not about how much you make. It is about how you manage what you make. Millionaires like Buffett understand that wealth is not built through one big decision. It is built through thousands of small, consistent actions taken over many years, and that is why their wealth continues to grow. Even when they are not actively working for it, they built systems, not just income. They built assets, not just earnings. And most importantly, they built habits that made wealth almost automatic. So what can you actually take away from all of this? The biggest lesson is simple but life-changing. Wealth is not created by one big action. It is created by small, consistent habits repeated over a long period of time. Most people think becoming a millionaire requires a huge breakthrough. They believe they need to start a business, get lucky with an investment, or suddenly earn a massive income. But millionaires don't rely on luck. They rely on systems. They build habits that automatically push them in the direction of wealth. And the good news is, you can do the same. You do not need to be rich to start building millionaire habits. In fact, the earlier you start, the more powerful these habits become. Even small changes can make a big difference over time. For example, if you start saving and investing a small portion of your income consistently, you are already ahead of most people. If you control your spending and avoid unnecessary debt, you are protecting your financial future. If you focus on building assets instead of chasing expenses, you are setting yourself up for long-term success. The key is consistency. Millionaires do not always make perfect decisions, but they make consistent decisions. Over time, consistency beats intensity. Small actions repeated daily will always outperform big actions done occasionally. Another important lesson is this. You need to shift your mindset from consumer to investor. A consumer spends money on things that lose value. An investor puts money into things that grow and generate income. Millionaires think like investors in everything they do. They ask questions like, will this make me money in the future? Instead of, can I afford this right now? This simple shift changes everything, because once you start thinking like an investor, your decisions automatically align with wealth creation. You stop wasting money on things that do not matter. You start focusing on things that build your future, and slowly, your financial situation begins to change. Finally, understand this. Wealth is not about perfection. It is about direction. You do not need to be perfect with money. You just need to move in the right direction consistently. Even small improvements over time can lead to massive results. So, instead of waiting for the perfect opportunity, start building the right habits today. Because the difference between someone who struggles financially and someone who becomes a millionaire is not luck. It is habits. If you want to truly understand how money works and build the kind of habits that can change your financial future, start paying attention to the small decisions you make every day. Because those small decisions are what separate people who stay stuck from people who become financially free. If you found value in this video, and you want to learn more about wealth, investing, and how millionaires actually think, then make sure to subscribe to The Geeky Investor. We break down complex money ideas into simple, practical lessons you can actually use in your life. Stay consistent, build smart habits, and take control of your financial future.